The nation reacts.
We, the people, made our voices heard.
To Donald Trump winning the presidential election for a second non-consecutive time. Call from Kamala Harris.
The outcome of this election is not what we wanted.
Her concession to Trump's victory in the polls. And like father, like son.
How do you get to this place? Like, Dry Tortugas is out, and it's an island 70 miles off the coast of the Florida Keys.
The incredible journey this dad and his kid shared to make the perfect dynamic duo. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Julian Lascano.
I am Denise Diaz. Today is Thursday, November 7th, 2024.
Live from the Lee Caplin School of Journalism and Media in North Miami, this is Caplin News.
The first steps toward a peaceful transition of power are underway this morning between President 46 and President 47. Vice President Kamala Harris addressed her supporters and the nation today after presidential election was called for Donald Trump.
As CNN's Michael Yoshida reports, she urged her supporters and all Americans to uphold the peaceful transition of power.
The outcome of this election is not what we wanted, not what we fought for, not what we voted for, but hear me when I say, the light of America's promise will always burn bright.
Vice President Kamala Harris officially acknowledging the new incoming 47th President of the United States. Trump is now the second person in U.S. history to win 2 non-consecutive terms as Commander-in-Chief. Reaction and reflection from both sides of the aisle.
I think there is a populist and a anti-incumbent wave because of the impact of both the pandemic and the recovery from it.
We, the people, made our voices heard.
America has given us an unprecedented and powerful mandate.
It's a mandate that will be backed by a Republican majority Senate. The GOP secured enough seats to take control of that chamber overnight. Vice President Harris spoke to President-elect Trump by phone before her speech. She urged her supporters and all Americans to uphold the peaceful transfer of power.
But we must accept the results of this election. We will engage in a peaceful transfer of power.
I will govern by a simple motto: promises made, promises kept.
Ups and downs in the financial markets after President-elect Trump's victory. As Caplin Sara Mercedes reports, companies that will benefit from the regulation are up and companies who will be hurt by tariffs are down.
Markets have seen major shifts following Donald Trump's projected return to the White House, sending the Dow soaring. Investors are betting on economic growth with a Republican-led Congress, which promises potential tax cuts and deregulation. With the S&P 500's financial sector jumping 6.2%, investors are excited about possible deregulation, lifting stocks like Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Chase, and Wells Fargo by more than 10% each.
Stock market will continue to rise and continue to grow, especially Tesla stock, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, US 30.
The market's response reflects optimism in some sectors. Other areas face challenges due to the trade policies in place. The Wall Street Journal calls them the winners and the losers of this Trump trade going on. Big tech and crypto also saw a surge. Tesla shares rose 15%, while Alphabet and Amazon gained as investors bet on favorable tech policies. Bitcoin and Coinbase also surged on optimism for a crypto-friendly approach. Small cap companies gained 5.8% as optimism for tax cuts and relaxed regulations boost smaller businesses despite rising bond yields. Companies like Nike, Target, and Best Buy saw drops over fears of new tariffs on overseas manufacturing. Real estate was the worst performer, with borrowing costs expected to rise along with bond yields, hurting real estate developers and home builders. With policy shifts and potential deregulation on the horizon, the markets are experiencing a Trump trade wave. As we see policy directions firm up, and investors will certainly be watching closely. I am Sara Mercedes reporting for Caplin News.
While many states in the country protect reproductive rights, Florida and South Dakota remain firm on their opposal. Today, 7 states voted to approve abortion measures, including Arizona, Colorado, New York, Maryland, Missouri, Montana, and Nevada. While Florida has denied abortion measures, Florida's 6-week ban will remain in place. South Dakota will also keep its law banning abortions with no exceptions for rape and incest. More developments this morning on the 9/11 conspirators, as military judge has ruled in favor of proceeding with their plea deals. In July, the U.S. reached plea deals for 9/11 mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, as well as 2 other defendants. However, several days later, an attempt to revoke an agreement by Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin was made, stating that the ability to agree with a plea deal should be his sole responsibility as, quote, the superior convening authority. Yesterday's ruling means that the men could possibly be sentenced to life in prison, avoiding the death penalty.
A late day turns into tragedy last weekend in Palm Beach County. An 11-year-old girl was thrown from a boat and then struck by its propeller. As WPT's Silali Solache reports, the girl died from her injuries.
Waters of Lake Osborne carry a somber weight after a young girl died Saturday.
That's crazy. Now we know something like that happened.
According to Florida Fish and Wildlife, a pontoon boat carrying 2 adults and 3 children was riding the water Saturday. Suddenly, the bow on the vessel dropped, taking the 11-year-old girl overboard.
I don't know exactly what happened with this, but stuff happens, and tragically a little girl passed away.
Officials explained the young girl was struck by a propeller and died from her injuries. Boaters from Saturday returned to the waters today. Some recall seeing search crews.
I just figured at first that they were just doing like a little boating exercise, practicing on responding to emergencies, but now to hear that that's what's happened, that's very tragic.
Price and his friends say they've heard of a handful of boating accidents on the lake.
We've been on the water since we were born, so obviously we can get to the point where we're too comfortable, and that's not what you want out here. Anything can happen. You're never going to be too comfortable. Always take precautions.
The tragedy has shifted their perspective.
If you need life jackets, make sure there's enough room on the boat. Don't fill up boats. Make sure people are sitting down. Make sure people aren't ripping past you.
In Lake Worth Beach,
just be safe.
Zetlali Solache, WPTV News.
NVIDIA is now the world's most valuable company, surpassing Apple in major tech shakeup. The AI software giant's market cap soared nearly 3% on Tuesday, reaching a staggering $3.43 trillion. The company saw explosive growth last year as the leading provider of graphics processing units, or GPUs, powering AI operations.
In the fight to keep a winning record, the Heat took on one of the best teams in the West.
That's still ahead, and so is the story.
That great growing up, and I never want Cole to feel like I felt growing up, and these are the things that I do with Cole are the things I wish my father would have done.
A father-son duo goes beyond planes, trains, and automobiles in their quest to visit all the national parks. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
Radcliffe Art and Design Incubator is the velocity accompanying the fellow's rudder, as in a boat. Unless there is movement or action, the planned direction is of little consequence. We encourage the creative ideas into action, and from the experience of doing, we critically assess the feedback, adjust, and set out to rediscover the potentialities of an entrepreneurial mindset.
Stan, precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to learn the difference between sedimentary and metamorphic rock. Go find those rocks. Dare to keep daring. Dare to STEM. Check out She Can STEM to get started.
Parks and Recreation, a journey of fun that crosses some of the most beautiful places in the country. A national adventure, a father-son duo traveled all across America to visit all 63 national parks.
What amazing tales this family will share after they complete their crossing. As WTVR's Beverly Kidd bring us more details on this journey.
Beach residents Bill and Cole Daly thumbed through their scrapbook of adventures.
Back in 2019, me and my dad, we did a cross-country train trip. We went on Amtrak and we traveled to Chicago, San Francisco, New York.
During that train trip, we calculated we went through 26 states in one trip.
But it was April of 2021 that the two made plans to visit every national park in the United States. They were inspired by an Ohio grandmother and her grandson who were doing it.
I reached out to Brad and asked him a lot of questions about how do you get to this place? Like, Dry Tortugas is out. It's an island 70 miles off the coast of the Florida Keys.
So far, they've been to 37 of the 63 national parks. Their favorites so far?
Yellowstone is by far one of my most favorite national parks I've ever been to. There's so much nature there. There's bison everywhere. There's wildlife everywhere. We did see a moose. We actually did see only one pronghorn. Only one pronghorn. It's kind of like a gazelle a little bit.
Their park travels have earned them quite an online following. Billy and Cole's excellent adventure has more than 13,000 Instagram followers.
Some of our friends say on social media, it's so cool for them to see all these places that most adults don't even get to see, but they're able to see it through our eyes.
Steward of the environment.
The adventure has earned the 15-year-old Ocean Lake student junior ranger badges from each park.
Thank you so much.
Recently, the father and son entered a contest, one of 70,000 entries in the National Park Foundation's Ultimate Explorer competition. The grand prize? $10,000.
Crocodiles are
But it's not money or online attention that motivates Dad Billy to carve out so much time for excellent adventures with his son.
My childhood wasn't that great growing up, and I never want Cole to feel like I felt growing up. And these are the things that I do with Cole are the things I wish my father would have done with me.
But not all of their trips are Instagram worthy. Even the best laid plans go sideways, like the trip to the Everglades National Park in Florida.
We like to camp.
Yeah.
And we arrived at the campground at the southernmost point of tip of Florida. And all of a sudden we hear the buzzing. I turn on the light and the entire tent was just caked with mosquitoes.
But it's moments like this that makes those snafus all worth it.
We summited Haleakala in Hawaii, which is almost 11,000 feet. We seen the sunset when we were above the clouds.
They came in fifth in the competition, but they didn't seem disappointed. After all, it's the memories they both will share for a lifetime that make this dynamic traveling duo positively Hampton Roads.
And heartbreak for the Heat once again as Miami comes up just short against the Phoenix Suns. The game came down to the wire with Miami trailing by just 2 points. Booker made one of 2 free throws, giving Miami one last chance, but Butler couldn't get a shot off in an errant pass to Hero, who was out of bounds, sealing it for the Suns. The final score was Heat 112, Phoenix 115. Miami is set to play the Nuggets tonight at 9 p.m. You're watching Newsbreak, and we're coming right back.
See us dream.
See us remember. See us protest.
You matter. Your feelings matter. Your identity matters. Everything about who you are matters.
See us fight back. See us rebuild. See us shatter stereotypes. See us inspire. See us united. See us now.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I am Denise Diaz.
And I'm Julian Lascano. Get more news anytime at caplinnews.fiu.edu.